be said the lad did all right because you've got 2 Oscars and a knighthood.
Yeah, I got 1 Oscar. I have nominated a few times. 1 Oscar,
right.
yes.
Okay.
I didn't want to come on, actually. I was so fascinated watching these two.
All right, do you want to go back and see
it's fascinating, because what you're saying about, you know, how you matures and mellows out as the years go by, it's just terrific. It's a wonderful interview.
Well, that happened to you.
Yeah, I guess it
Well, I
happened
mean,
to me.
well...
But I'm getting older and I feel much more mellow.
But I mean, I was only thinking that when I did that interview with you, that in fact, when I did the interview, I thought, I've done this interview before, but the name of the man was Richard Burton.
Oh, yes.
But with Burton, I mean, he went over the edge and you didn't. You pulled back. It was the same interview in a sense, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, you mean when Richard... Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was just, look, it's the boy from Wales.
We came from the same town.
The same town.
Yes.
You know, they conquer the stage,
yeah.
Go to Hollywood, accusations of selling out and all that sort of thing. Yes. The booze.
Yeah.
But he went on the booze, and you didn't. You pulled back.
Well, I just thought it'd be smarter not to do that. So I had some fun with it, but it finally burnt me out, so I stopped.
Let's talk about now. Let's talk about America now, because you're settled there now, and the films are kind of queuing up. You've got, I think, 3 waiting for release at present.
That's right. I've got Zorro, Mask of Zorro, in which I actually play Zorro, believe it or not, with Antonio Banderas, and meet Joe Black with Brad Pitt, and what else? Amistad. With Steven Spielberg, and The Edge, which comes out soon. 4. Something like that. Well, then I got one coming up in January, so I start next weekend.
And, I mean, do you get time to see these movies ever?
Yes, I get a look at them, and one viewing is enough, and cancel and move on. You know?
Would it be wrong in thinking that for all you've been an actor all your life, that if it wasn't for movies, you wouldn't be an actor?
I think so. I was brought up, I was raised on you know, the movies during the war years. My parents used to take me to the Plaza Cinema in Port Talbot, or the Odeon, or wherever. We had 5 cinemas in a relatively small town. And I used to go and see all the Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney movies. And that's where lots of kids of my generation got their entertainment. And eventually, because I had nothing better to do, I became an actor because I was so stupid at school. And I was a slow student, you know. And my father suggested I join the YMCA, and that's where I started. Port Talbot, 1955. I wanted instant stardom, but it took a long time. I simply wanted to... I remember meeting Richard Burton, and he signed an autograph for me. And I was so impressed because he was home from Hollywood with his wife, not Elizabeth Taylor, his first wife. And I remember him signing the autograph. And he was on his way to Cardiff Arms Park to see the big international between England and Wales. Anyway, I was walking down the street afterwards, clutching my autograph. And he passed in the car, and Sybil waved to me, you know, his wife. And I remember thinking that moment, I thought, I've got to get out of here. I don't mean out of Wales, but I thought, I've got to get out of my own situation. I want to become famous. And I did. That's what I wanted to become. And that was a long time ago. I was about 15 at the time. And through some strange destiny, it's all luck, some strange quirk of destiny, I found myself moving towards the acting business. I went into the theatre. I was very lucky, tremendously lucky, most fortunate. I've been very blessed. I worked with great people like Laurence Olivier at the National Theatre. Sure. But I really had my eye on the main chance. I really wanted to be in movies. I loved movies, and I love doing them now. I'm afraid I'm not very good in the theatre. I get very restless.
That's a nonsense.
Well, I just
Anybody who saw you do Lambert LaRue in France.
That was a lot of fun.
But fun? Yes. That's one thing Lambert LaRue wasn't, was fun.
Yeah, but it was a little... I got restless. Maybe I'll go back to the theatre one day, I don't know. But I'm very fortunate. I'm enjoying my life now and doing what I do.
You said something very interesting once in an interview about your father. You said you were dangerous together.
My father and I, he was an amazing man, and he was a baker, and he was, I think, a frustrated actor, he was a great storyteller, like Paul, a wonderful improviser. He ended up running a pub, and people flocked from all over Wales to come and see him. He's known as Dick the Ship. And he told these stories, and we used to do a double act of Tommy Cooper together behind the bar. And he was an extraordinary man, and he was a very meat and potatoes man, very down to earth. And when I was working at the National Theatre, he said, "You don't want to hang around here, you know, you want to make money like Richard Burton." I was doing a play at the National Theatre with Joan Plowright and Sir Lawrence, and anyway, they were in the dressing room afterwards, and Laurence Olivier knocked on the door and came in. And my father went a very funny colour, and so did my mother. So I said, "This is Sir Laurence Olivier." He said, "Hello, Mr. Hopkins, how are you?" And my father said, "How old are you now, then?" He's built like a bull. He said, "How old are you?" And Laurence Olivier said, "I was born in 1907. Same age as me. Both going down the bloody hill now, aren't we?" I mean, I've had interviews in papers and the people say, and I've been misquoted saying I had a miserable childhood. I didn't. I had an idyllic childhood.
Yes.
The only time was when I was in school, I was not very bright. And so I felt very lonely. That was the only time. But I had a wonderful childhood and great parents.
Do you think of your father often now?
All the time.
Yes.
And as I get older, he's becoming me. I'm him.
Yeah.
I remember I used to play the piano a lot. I was a little artistic, so I used to play Beethoven and all that stuff, you know, and Chopin and all that. And he was a baker, and he used to ask me to come and help him in the shop, carry the cakes into the shop during school holidays. Well, I'd sort of get distracted. And I remember sitting at the top of the house where this piano was, and I remember him coming up the stairs. He said, "For God's sake," he said, "I asked you to take those donuts into the shop. What the hell are you doing up here?" I was playing the piano. He said, "What's that you're playing?" And I remember him standing in the doorway, and he had flour dust in his hair and his arms, you know, really hard worker. He said, "What are you playing?" I said, "Beethoven." He said, "No wonder you went deaf." I'll never forget that, because it's come alive in me, because I'm afraid I don't have much time for the acting. I mean, I was at an entertainment thing with we were doing a Tommy Cooper evening, and light entertainment and all that, and I love comedians and I love entertainers, and the acting profession gets a little bit stiff and starchy, and I think my father's coming alive in me now. I'm a bit irreverent about it.
Before we explore that, did you ever use your father in any part you played?
Or most of the time, I think. Lambert LaRue.
Lambert LaRue? What the way he stood?
Well, my father's he wasn't aggressive.
You said he was a bullish.
Yes, a bullish man,
Yeah,
and
so
so
Mr.
was my
LaRue,
grandfather. Basically on my grandfather, really, on my father's side of the family. But yes, I'm built like him. I act like him. I have the same. I saw a photograph of myself in a magazine recently. I thought it was my father. I think as we get older, we become closer to them. I remember reading about your father and your relationship.
Yes, I was very close to him. That's why
That's an amazing story.
fascinates me.
Right.
It is. It's extraordinary. And again, like you, the older I get, the more I think about what you learn from them.
What you learn from them. I think we learn the best part from them.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right. Let's talk about Tommy Cooper. Because, well, I mean, listen, I mean, it was my favourite, my all-time favourite.
Yeah.
Well, before we talk about it specifically, you said something interesting there, which other actors have said, which is that you admire comedians, and a lot of actors do. I mean, Trevor Howard, I remember once when Tommy Cooper was on the show, rang up and begged to be in the audience to watch him. And I said, why? He said, because he's a great actor, he said.
Yeah.
What is it, though?
Well, Paul, you're a great fan of Tommy Cooper.
Yes, indeed. He was wonderful.
I think he was an anarchist. He was a complete anarchist. I mean, I was watching a tape of him yesterday. I mean, I think he had the genius of recognising his own body, those huge feet. He's about 6'5", wasn't he? And the awkwardness of him, and he was a very vulnerable fool. I mean, he was an idiot. I mean, he was a wonderful fool, like Eric Morecambe was, and I think Les Dawson, but a wonderful fool, and all his tricks went wrong. I think they say he was just a hit-and-miss comedian. I think he was a brilliantly, technically accomplished comedian.
There is some story, I think, I don't know if it's true, and I heard this years ago, that he was playing Los Angeles or America, a Hilton Hotel somewhere, I think it was LA, and he was booked for 2 weeks. This would be sometime in the late 50s. And after a couple of evenings, the management called him in and said, "Look, we have to speak to you, Mr. Cooper." And he said, "Well, what's the matter?" You know, and he said, "We think you should rehearse more." Because the same trick went wrong tonight as did last night.
Do you know of whom we speak? No. No, he didn't cross the Atlantic too often, except in his
It
dreams.
was very British humour.
He was very British humour. He was a great drawer, a great comedian. You went. What was this? You were at this. What were you doing? Was it Tommy Cooper
impressions? I promised my wife I wouldn't do any Tommy Cooper. Go on.
Nonsense.
I was hosting this show last night. It was and Sting was there, and a whole bunch of people, and Warren Mitchell. Anyway. So I was asked to host the evening, and Ned Sherrin introduced me, and so I had to get up with the fez and sort of like that. You know. So I thought, well, I said, I feel very silly up here. I'm supposed to be a serious actor. So I stood there like that. I went to the butcher. I said, what do you want? I said, lean back. Are you there? I backed a horse yesterday, 20 to 1. I came in at 20 past 4. I came in so late and had a tiptoe back to the stable. I went to the doctor. He said, what's the matter? I said, I'm not feeling good. He said, get up on the table. I said, what for? He said, I want to sweep up. So he examined me all over. He said, like that. Examined me all over. And when I came out of the changing room, he was looking very sad. I said, give me the worst. He said, well, let's put it like this. Don't put on any long-playing records. My wife was with me. There's an actor I'd like to play, an actor friend of mine. I haven't seen him for years. Is Mike Gambon. He reminds me.
Oh, Michael Gambon,
a great actor.
Yes.
And I think he's
Sir Michael
Gambon.
Indeed.
I think he's that kind of an anarchist that makes him a great actor.
Yes. Yes, and he's got a great physical resemblance. He could play Tommy Cooper, couldn't he?
He could, and I think it's his great genius is his anarchy on stage and actor.
Yeah. Let's say in the final moment we've got now, just a couple of things. America, you're enjoying.
I love it. I've got a house there in California, but I also live here.
But you also, I read, is a way of relaxing there. You just take off and just drive around the country.
Thousands of miles.
Do you?
Drive, so wherever my instinct takes me, I'll make one direction and then I end up in Texas and not really. I have a map with me, but sometimes I'll change. I think I'll go right and I end up in Texas. I was down in Texas last year and it was so flat. I thought this is very boring. So I turned left and went up to Washington. And I have a wonderful. I'm actually going into a hotel in El Paso. It was a holiday and it was under a freeway, just on the very gloomy, miserable night it was. It was raining. And I went to this hotel, I needed accommodation. I walked in, it was very gloomy, and I walked in, there was this woman behind the desk, and she had a scarf with curls and, you know, grips. And I said, could I have a room? She said, oh, my God. Hannibal Lecter. So I had a lot of fun meeting a lot of people. It's a way of relaxing. So I'm bitter on the neck. I can play a dog in the phone.
All right, you're on.
Doberman.
I was going to ask if you get a part in. Final question to all three, because what's been fascinating talking to all three of us tonight is that all three of you came from the same kind of background, and you know where you weren't allowed to be what you are in a sense, and you dreamed and you became what you are, and you succeeded. Do you think that it's all been? Is it a dream? Are they going to tap you on the shoulder, Paul Merton, one day and say, "Your time's up, Merton"? Actually, yeah.
No, I don't. I don't feel that. I think some people do. I think that's quite a common thing with people in show business. But no, it took a long. It was a long, slow climb, and I hope it to be a long, slow descent.
Barry, what about you?
Ditto.
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 Same as.
Same thing. If it went someplace, I would look back and say, what a great ride that's been.
Sir Anthony.
Yeah, I've had a wonderful life, and I hope it goes on. I'm very fortunate, very lucky. I sometimes pinch myself, think, how did it happen? But I think, well, you know, that's the way it is. It's opportunity, luck, and goodness knows what it is. Maybe a little bit of talent. But I've had such a wonderful life, and what I'm enjoying now is just getting older. That's what I'm really enjoying. I just passed my 60th birthday, yeah. I just feel everything is mellowed out a bit. I'm not that concerned about things anymore. I'm just having a good time, and...
Isn't it nice to tell people to
go
away if you don't like it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say something vulgar, but I wouldn't. And choose your friends.
Yeah.
And do what you want to do.
Exactly. I had a party the other night. It was the 60th birthday party, and a lot of friends I hadn't seen for many years came by, actors, and it was wonderful to see that we're all getting older, and we've all mellowed a bit more, and there's not all that competition and striving and all that, which is great.
All that testosterone.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank all of you, too, for coming on the show, but thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice show.
They're going to be smiling as they